I'm going to reveal a mystery behind what happened in the shooting at the Christian school in Nashville. A stunning truth you're never going to hear in the news. This is Jonathan Cahn. I'm not in the studio right now. I had no time, but I wanted to do it right here. What happened in Nashville, that shooting at the Christian school, was horrifying. And though the target was Christian children and Christian adults, there wasn't one single article in the mainstream media speaking of anti-Christian hatred or violence. Why was that? Some of the media actually appear to be blaming Christians for the shooting, since Christians are not generally for transgenderism and the shooter was transgender. Many media outlets didn't even mention that. But months before this happened, a video game came out that was created by a transgender video game designer, encouraging virtual violence and killing against those who are not in favor of surgical altering. In the game, they are to be killed, including a virtual minister. And before the massacre happened, a transgender activist planned Day of Vengeance. A trans Day of Vengeance was planned. The Bible speaks of spirits. In Hebrew, they're called the Shedim. Translated into Greek, it became the word daimonia. We get the word demon from it, demonic. Shedim means the destroyer, those who bring death. When they possess a person, they seek to remove the individual from his or her nature and purpose, whether that means their humanity, their gender, their sexuality, their personhood. That's how they begin destroying him or her. The possessed person becomes a danger to others and to himself or herself, harming others, harming themselves. The Bible says that the Shedim, or the daimonia, the demonic spirits, were behind the gods of the ancient world. 2,000 years ago, the gods were cast out of Western civilization by the power of Jesus. But behind the gods are spirits, and Jesus gave a warning, which can be translated into modern terms to America and to the world as this: any culture, any nation, any civilization that's been delivered of these spirits or gods, if it should ever turn away from God, these spirits, these gods, these demonic entities will come back to repossess it, repossess the culture, repossess the people. America has cast out God. Now we are witnessing the taking over of our culture by these spirits. That's why what we're watching is so irrational. That's why it's so demonic. When I wrote The Return of the Gods, I wrote these words. I said, if the gods or spirits that were cast out with the coming of Christianity returned, would they not come back with a vengeance? And would not their vengeance be focused on those who cast them out? Well, who cast them out? Christians did. So these returning spirits, demonic spirits, will turn their vengeance, their fury against Christians. Now think of what happened in Nashville to those Christian children and adults. I wrote of the plans of demonic spirits to attack Christians in The Return of the Gods. It came out in September 2022. 7 months later, the attack took place in the Christian school in Nashville. Now, when I wrote the book, I revealed 3 central gods or spirits that are now taking possession of America and the West. I call them the Dark Trinity in The Return of the Gods, spirits that lie behind everything. What's happening to your children? One of them was called the Enchantress. In the book, I reveal that ancient inscriptions concerning this goddess, it says that she turns a man into a woman and a woman into a man. This is the god or the spirit that alters gender, transitions man into woman, transitions woman into man. The inscription also reveals that she's the god of parades that celebrate the bending of gender. And she especially possessed a culture in 1 month. Which month? The month of June from ancient times. She was the goddess of pride, and she possessed June. She had a priesthood called the Asinu or the Kalu. They were men who dressed up and acted as women. Some of them were surgically transitioned with organs cut off. One of the ancient transcriptions I put in the book describes the transitioned men dancing in front of the goddess, carrying scalpels as if to celebrate their transition. The spirit is taking over our culture and our children as I speak. It's not about the people, it's about the spirit behind them. The spirits are as much against those whom they possess and use as the ones who oppose them. The word Shedim means destroyer. These spirits bring destruction. They're always after the children from ancient times to now. Whether killing babies in the womb or outside of the womb, they target children, and they target Christians now. Christian children are all the more in their crosshairs of the goddess and of the spirits. The goddess took possession of her priesthood. So the men who appeared as women and the women who appeared as men were possessed by the goddess. But Jesus warned that when the spirits come back, they come back worse. So now that same spirit that bends gender is seeking to possess an entire generation of children, to confuse them, to start transitioning them, to surgically remove their organs. How could we do that to them? What could possess somebody to do that? A spirit could possess them. The trans woman shooter was one of the confused souls of this generation. Now, could there have been an actual demonic possession behind what happened at that Christian school? And could there have been an actual sign that what happened really was from the spiritual realm behind the news? In the gospel account of the demoniac or the demonically possessed man, it goes like this. It says, they came to the other side, the disciples, with Jesus, of the Sea of Galilee, into the region of the Gerasenes. When he got out of the boat, immediately a man from the tombs with an unclean spirit met him. He was living among the tombs, and nobody was able to bind him anymore, not even with a chain or with shackles. The chains had been torn apart by him, and the shackles were broken into pieces, and nobody was strong enough to subdue him. Constantly, night and day, he was screaming among the tombs and in the mountains, cutting himself with stones. He dwelt in the tombs. The tombs would have been caves in the rocks. They were hollows, hollowed out space. He dwelt in the hollow. In the Matthew's account, it says the demon-possessed man or men were so fierce that nobody could pass that way. He terrorized the people of the town. He presented a danger of physical harm, and he harmed himself by cutting his body. So the shooter at the Christian school sought to bring destruction to others and then to herself. She wrote a note saying, I plan to die this day. The demonic spirits bring destruction. The demoniac or the demon-possessed man dwelt in the caves, the tombs, the hollows. So the demon-possessed person dwelt in the hollows. The one who killed the Christians that day was named Audrey Hale. What does Hale mean? Her name means the one who dwells in the hollows. The killer's name, the Bible reveals the demon-possessed dwell in the hollows. The name of the killer actually means the one who dwells in the hollows. Could there be even more signs of a dark mystery taking place in the spiritual realm that you're never going to hear on the news? In the book of Revelation, it is revealed that the number of the beast, the Antichrist, is 666. I'm sure you've heard of it. You see it in movies like The Omen about demonically satanic possessed people. 666, the number 6 is linked to man. Man was created on the sixth day in the form of 3, 666, the number of God. So 6 appears as 3, it's man as God, the beast, the Antichrist. How many people died? How many people, Christians, were killed by this woman named Hale, the one who dwelt in the hollows? She killed 6 people. She killed 3 adults. How old were they? One was 60, the other 61, the other 60. 666. They were all just about 60. Did she know that? I'm sure she didn't, but the spirits do. 666, the mark of the beast, the number of Satan, as in one who is possessed by a demonic spirit. The killer had no idea, but the spirits that possessed have an idea. In the worship of Satan, signs and numbers are often inverted, as in turned upside down, as the enemy is an inverter. How many children were killed? That was the adults, 666. How many children were killed? 3. What were their ages? 9, 9, 9. What happens if you turn it upside down? 666. 999 is the inversion of 666. So 3 adults, 666. 3 children, the inverted 666. The shooter had no idea. The spirits did. The changes that are taking place in our nation and Western civilization and the world are not natural. They're not rational. They're part of a mystery in the realm of the spirit. They're not just possessing troubled individuals. They're possessing celebrities, pop stars, organizations, institutions, media, school systems, government, leaders, cultures, our culture. And for you who are a follower of God, you're a Christian, you're a true believer, be warned, they're after you. And even if you're not, if you're created in the image of God, they're after you. They are affecting everyone. Every one of you watching this right now, you're dealing with it in one form or another, whether you know it or you don't. They're after you. You're a target. That's why I wrote The Return of the Gods, to reveal and to arm those who would be armed for what's coming. There's only one power and force that's able to overcome these things. It's the power of God, the presence of Yeshua, Jesus, the Redeemer, and that's why you need him in your life. We war not against flesh and blood, it says, but against powers, principalities, rulers, spiritual forces in high places. God is greater. Make sure you're right with him. Make sure he's in your life. Make sure you received him for real. Make sure you're born again. You're saved. And if you don't want to miss the messages that are going to come forth from this site in the future, make sure you press subscribe. And until next time, this is Jonathan Cahn saying, be strong in the power of his might. Shalom.